Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the course AR309 Architecture and Town Planning, lecture number 3. In today's lecture, you will get to know about the historical architecture development of Romans and Gothics. Let's move on to our very first slide. Roman architecture, about their background. Beginning in the 8th century BC, ancient Rome grew from a small town on the central Italy Tiber River into an empire that at its peak encompassed most of the continental Europe, Britain, much of the Western Asia, Northern Africa, and the Mediterranean islands. If you see the map, it is clearly visible that the Romans had acquired much of the land and rapidly expanded their empires. The Romans conquered many peoples and brought back many things from each land, which mainly includes their culture, languages, fashion, art, and architecture. This is the reason why their way of life was a mix of many cultures, influences, and religions. Starting in the 2nd century BC, Greek influence became very important in the form of architecture, painting, sculptures, law, and literature, which progressed to a high level in Roman times. Rome was a trading nation which kept military control over a wide range of peoples, mostly around the Mediterranean Sea. इसको इस तरह कह सकते हैं when the Romans started expanding जहाँ जहाँ उन्होंने जो जो लैंड कॉन्क्योर किया तो वो उसके साथ जो भी उसकी अटैचमेंट थी जो वो अपने साथ लाते गए और अपने कल्चर के अंदर इंक्लूड करते गए अडॉप्ट करते गए लेकिन जो उनका आर्किटेक्चरल था was mainly influenced from the Greeks. Furthermore, the Romans significantly strengthened their social and political interactions by emphasizing law and legislations. The Roman Forum was the best example of the socio-political and religious happenings, also known as the Forum Romanum in Latin. It was located at the center of the ancient city of Rome. The first Roman law code was inscribed on 12 bronze tablets known as the 12 tablets and publicly displayed in the Roman Forum. बेसिकली जो उन्होंने लॉज को डेवलप किया था एट देयर टाइम्स उसको एम्बोस किया ऑन 12 डिफरेंट ब्रॉन्ज टैबलेट्स और उसको दे गेट इट डिस्प्लेड इनटू द रोमन फोरम्स टू टू गेट इट पब्लिकलाइज्ड. These laws included issues of legal procedures, civil rights and property rights, and provided the basics for all future Roman civil laws. Today the Roman Forum is one of the most famous tourist sites in the world. Furthermore, their social setup was divided into four classes, which includes the aristocrats, the equestrians, the common citizens, and the slaves. The aristocrat class was limited and had only about 300 families. Most of them were the senators and emperors. The aristocrats were very powerful. The equestrians or equites were the merchants, government builders, and the bankers, who were usually less rich than the aristocrat. The common citizens were the farmers and the industrial workers. Slaves had to work hard and were usually released when they became very old. Some of the slaves were trained to become gladiators for the people to watch, which were the mega source of entertainment at the Roman times. You might have also witnessed or watched that in the movies. Other slaves worked at rich homes as doorkeepers, litter bearers, messengers, or servants. So moving on to our next slide, famous building and building types. Most important among the structures developed by the Romans themselves were the basilicas. The basilicas were the large public buildings used for multi-purpose but as grand social or religious happenings, usually as a court of law. The officials Meetings were usually led by the emperor, noblemen, or priests. Basilicas are typically in rectangular shape with a central nave. Nave is a form of building design or plan influenced from the Catholic churches that are usually are in cross-shaped plan which is with its main entrance from the rear side, and usually have two or more linear aisles up to the front side of the building, as you can see it on the top left corner of this slide. The plan is cross-shaped. Moreover, the roof of the building are constructed in two levels, being higher at the corner, being higher at the center over the nave to admit a clerestory. Clerestory is a classic architectural design element having a high section of wall that contains windows above the eye level. The purpose is to admit light and fresh air or both. A view of clerestory is provided alongside the nave plan. You can see it. The building contains an apse at the front end. An apse is a semicircular small covered area which with a hemispherical vault or a semi-dome. The picture is shown at the top right of the slide. You can visualize it. The apse mostly have a raised stage occupied by Roman magistrates who usually led the meetings or gatherings. Also, there is a building section displayed in the top row of the slide to understand the overall design of a basilica. Basically, the darbar concept to hear a faryad or much more in early Muslim kingdom was majorly influenced by the Roman design of basilica, and this building design became patent. The other innovative addition to the building type includes Roman baths. Most Roman cities had at least one public bath. They were the public centers not only for bathing but socializing and reading as well. Bathhouses were also provided for wealthy private villas, townhouses, and forts. An example of a public bath is also displayed in the slide on the bottom left side of the slide to visualize the scene. Other than that were the amphitheaters and theaters. The Roman theatres were freestanding structures and the design was majorly influenced from the ancient Greeks. The auditorium were usually semicircular with the movable seat at the orchestra level, and it was sometimes used for the seating of highly privileged peoples. The seating was allocated or defined as per the Roman social hierarchy system, like the first important rows were reserved for the emperors and senators. After them, a little away from the stage, were the seats for the important officials. Then comes the citizens and soldiers. After them, at the part of the Colosseum or amphitheater, were for the slaves, as shown in the picture. For the oval amphitheaters, such as the Roman Colosseum, there are no known previous architectural influence found, and it was totally the Roman innovation, or you can say it is the advancement or improved form of the classic theatre design. As you are all are aware of the Colosseum as it is among the seven wonders of the world. I have also placed a picture of it into the slide. You can find it. Moreover, the monumental or triumphal arches were also pure Roman invention. The Arch of Constantine was the best example of triumphal arches as shown in the picture. They were used to commemorate or announce the victorious generals or other significant public events such as the founding of new colonies, the construction of important buildings, and or the death of a member of the imperial family or the accession of a new emperor. The structure had no practical function as a building. It was often rich decorated with the architectural detailing. Moving on to our next slide, Romans' architectural innovations. Roman architecture was unlike anything that had come before. The Persians, Egyptians, and Greeks, all were famous for their monumental architecture, having their speciality to have grand and impressive exterior. Just because their architects have to rely on the post and lintel technique of construction, since the lintels are heavy, the interior spaces are compromised and were very limited. While the Roman architecture differed fundamentally from this tradition because the discovery and exploitation of concrete, arches and vaulting, and the circular roof, which is also known as a dome. A good example of this is the Pantheon Temple, as shown on the top and top right of this slide. It was the temple of important Roman gods. Thanks to these innovations from the first century, Romans were able to create interior spaces that had previously been unheard of. Romans became increasingly concerned with shaping their interior spaces rather than filling it with the structural supports. As a result of this, the inside of Roman buildings was as impressive as their exteriors. You can visualize their interior from the picture in the middle, which is of Pantheon Temple, and it has all three Roman innovations which were the arches, dome, and the use of concrete, which allows them which allows them to decorate their interior spaces. तो ये बेसिकली ये बहुत ही एक prominent addition था into an architectural era because they started to decorate their interiors as well. Now we get to know about their engineering innovations as they started expanding away from the water sources which was previously shown in the map. The need arose to provide water supply to the Roman cities which were away from the rivers. The Romans then introduced the public water supply system through the Roman aqueducts. The mechanism consists of concrete tunnels at the top of the aqueducts and were supported by the arches and columns, which carry the water flow from the main water sources, which are usually the rivers, and take it to the city deposit tanks. As explanation is reflected into the picture at the bottom left, and the aqueduct structures are also displayed at the bottom right side of the slide. This engineering innovation in the form of Roman aqueducts has changed the classic civilization concept which was to settle near the water reservoirs. इस इनोवेशन की वजह से जो सेटलमेंट थी वो पॉसिबल हुई अवे फ्रॉम द रिवर और वाटर सोर्सेस. Moving on to our next slide, Roman building materials. The Romans used many local materials to build things which were the masonry. Masonry is the technique for laying bricks or stone in order to raise a wall, plaster and flooring, which includes chalk, sand, broken pottery, pumice stone, limestone, sandstone, marble, granite, wood and iron. These were commonly available materials at the Roman times, but the discovery of Roman concrete made with pozzolana sand mixed with lime was a revolutionary addition to the building materials, and this allowed the structural flexibility as the massive strong structure can now be built in any desirable shapes. In Pantheon's dome, the mix of concrete varied from heavy aggregate in the thick base to the lightweight pumice at the top. तो रोमन्स जो है वो कंक्रीट जो है वो डिफरेंट मटेरियल्स के साथ मिलके बनाते थे, बट द पोज़ोलाना सैंड वाज कॉमन एंड मिक्स्ड विद द लाइम, और उसके अंदर उसकी जो स्ट्रक्चरल नीड थी उसके हिसाब से उसमें वो मिलावट करते थे. जैसे कि जो पैंथेनॉन का डोम था वो उसको नीचे की तरफ बेस को उसको स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए उन्होंने हैवी एग्रीगेट उसके साथ शामिल किया। जिस तरह ऊपर आते गए, कर्व होते गए, तो उसी तरह वो वेट को लाइट करते गए। जो जो एट द टॉपर साइड जो उन्होंने है वो उसको प्रीमाइस स्टोन को जो है उधर, क्योंकि वो लाइटेस्ट होता है इसलिए उसको वो अपर पार्ट के लिए उसको यूज किया, ताकि जो स्ट्रक्चरल स्टेबिलिटी है उसको वो स्टेबल कर सकें या एनहांस कर सके। तो ये एक बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल है किस तरह रोमन जो थे वो हाईली फ्लेक्सिबल थे बाय यूजिंग और मेकिंग देयर मटेरियल्स एंड कंस्ट्रक्टिंग देयर बिल्डिंग्स। Pumice is the lightest stone with the rough and bubble texture, and it is mainly extracted after the volcanic eruption. Concrete was also used for construction of walls, क्योंकि कंक्रीट को जो है वो बहुत ही फेम हासिल हुआ था और बहुत ही फ्लेक्सिबल मटेरियल था जो रोमन ने डिस्कवर किया था। तो वो मोस्ट ऑफ द बिल्डिंग के अंदर वो कंक्रीट के यूज को उन्होंने कॉमन किया, और यही बेसिक वजह थी उनकी आर्किटेक्चरल फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी के पीछे। About their construction techniques, the Romans were great innovators. They rapidly had adopted new construction techniques, use of newly discovered building materials, and uniquely combined existing techniques with creative building design to produce a whole new range of architectural structures and styles. Also, many tools and mechanisms were invented and developed in the Roman times to support the construction activities, which includes wooden frames or molds, carry carts, scaffoldings, and cranes. A glimpse of Roman aqueducts construction is shown in the picture to visualize their construction technique. अगर आप ये पिक्चर को देखेंगे तो आपको ये अंदाज़ा होगा कि रोमन्स किस तरह रैपिडली एडवांस हुए और किस तरह उन्होंने अपनी कंस्ट्रक्शन टेक्निक्स को इम्प्रूव किया, किस तरह उन्होंने टूल्स और नए टूल्स डेवलप किए फॉर द एज ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन। और ये बहुत ही एक उम्दा मिसाल है। दैट्स वाई द रोमन आर द बेस्ट इनोवेटर्स इन द क्लासिक आर्किटेक्चरल टाइमलाइन। Furthermore, investigation of Roman structural remains have identified that a rigid stone foundation consisting of large stone rubble with mortar to a depth of about 3 feet, and then comes the rows of bricks to raise the walls. There were three techniques used for the construction of walls. इससे पहले कि हम उनकी वॉल कंस्ट्रक्शन टेक्निक्स के बारे में जानें, मैं थोड़ा-सा इसको डिस्क्राइब कर दूँगा जो जो हिस्टोरिकल इन्वेस्टिगेशन से साबित हुआ था, जो रोमन का जो स्टाइल ऑफ बिल्डिंग था। सबसे पहले जो है वो 3 फीट डेप्थ तक वो जो है जो हेवी स्टोन थे उसको वो प्लेस करते थे एज़ अ फाउंडेशन ऑफ द बिल्डिंग। उसके बाद वो अपनी फर्दर जो है वो ब्रिक मैसनरी या जो भी वो इजीली अवेलेबल मैसनरी के लिए जो वॉल्स के लिए जो मटेरियल्स होते थे उसको यूज करते हुए रोज को प्लेस करते थे टू रेज अ वॉल। अब उनकी तीन मेजर वॉल कंस्ट्रक्शन टेक्निक्स के बारे में जानेंगे, जिनके they were namely: number one, opus incertum, which means irregular work. It was an ancient Roman construction technique using irregularly shaped and randomly placed stones. You can visualize it at the top right side of the slide. Second was the opus reticulatum. It consists of a diamond-shaped bricks or tuff, which is a kind of stone. You can also see it into the picture below. तीसरे नंबर पे है opus testacea. It is the brick-faced wall texture, much similar to the modern technique for laying bricks. अच्छा, इन तीनों टेक्निक्स के अंदर कॉमन होता था यूज ऑफ मोटर। तो वो जो जितनी भी वो मैसनरी थी उसके अंदर वो जो मोटर जो था उनका सीमेंट के साथ जो बनाते थे वो उसको कॉमन किया, और जितनी भी कंस्ट्रक्शन थी, वॉल कंस्ट्रक्शन थी, उसके अंदर वो मोटर को यूज करते थे जो उसका बाइंडिंग एज अ बाइंडिंग मटेरियल होता था। So this sums up the Roman chapter. I hope you will find this interesting, as they significantly shifted the architectural development into a whole new form with the emphasis on their building interiors. Moving on to our next slide, रोमन बाइजेंटाइन आर्किटेक्चरल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, जैसा कि मैंने पहले ही बताया था, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही एक शॉर्ट पीरियड के लिए आए थे, बट ये इनकी कुछ इस तरह के फीचर्स थे जो कि डिस्टिंक्ट थे, तो मैं बारह इसको रोमन के साथ ही इसको इनकॉर्पोरेट करूंगा. About their background, the Byzantine Empire was the eastern continuation of the Roman Empire after the Western Roman Empire's fall in the 5th century BC. The Byzantine Empire initially maintained many Roman systems of governance, law, and aspects of Roman culture. The Byzantine used to call themselves as Romans. The term Byzantine Empire was not used until the fall of the Roman Empire. The Byzantine Empire shifted its capital from Rome to Constantinople, and changed their official religion to Christianity, and also changed their official language from Latin to Greek. This period is also known in the history for the rise of early Christianity. क्योंकि रोमन्स के टाइम में जो कैथोलिक रिलीजन था इट वाज फॉरबिडन, और जब उनका ज़वाल करीब आता गया तो जो लोग प्रमोट करते थे क्रिश्चियनिटी को, उन्होंने अपने आप को बाइजेंटाइन एम्पायर के नाम से इंट्रोड्यूस कराया. Basically, Byzantine architecture is a style of building that flourished under the Roman ruler Emperor Justinian between AD 527 and 565. In addition to extensive use of interior mosaic, its defining characteristic is a heighted dome. Much of what we call Byzantine architecture today is church-related. The reason why it has a great influence on today's church architecture. Originally, Byzantine churches are square-shaped with a central floor plan. Early Byzantine churches might have one dominant central dome of great height, rising from a square base on half-dome or pillars or pendentives. Pendentives are the triangular curved piece beneath a dome, enabling the square-circle union, and was an addition to classic architectural feature. The pendentives are displayed in the top middles of the slide. तो जिस तरह आप पिक्चर में देख सकते हैं, जो पेंडेंटिव कर्व्स थे जो कि एनेबल करते थे स्क्वायर, और जो उसका डोम होता था सर्कुलर. बिल्डिंग क्योंकि स्क्वायर फॉर्म में होती थी और जो सर्कुलर डोम होता था वो सर्कुलर होता था, तो उसकी जो इंटीग्रेशन को एनेबल करता था ये आर्किटेक्चरल एलिमेंट, जिसका नाम उन्होंने कहा था पेंडेंटिव्स. Moreover, the Byzantine architecture blended Western and Middle Eastern architectural details and ways of doing things. Mosaic decorations and narratives were common. For example, the mosaic image of Justinian in the Basilica of San Vitale in Italy honors the Roman Christian emperor, as shown in the bottom left of this slide. Above this is the picture of Basilica of Saint Vitale from the external side, or you can call it the elevation of this building. तो जितना उनका एक्सटीरियर जो सिंपल होता था उसी तरह जो उनका इंटीरियर है वो इम्प्रेसिव होता था और बहुत ही हाईली डेकोरेटेड होता था. Byzantine architecture had given birth to many Christian churches, out of which Hagia Sophia is the finest example, and was built in 537 BC, and was the largest Christian church in the whole Roman Empire. After the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Empire, the Ottomans soon converted the building into a mosque in 1453 AD, adding four minarets to its exterior and covering all the ornate Christian icons and gold mosaic with the panels of Arabic religious calligraphy. Then in 1935 the secular Turkish Republic established it as a museum, and then back in 2020 it is reopened as a mosque. The section and the exterior of Hagia Sophia building is displayed at the top right side of this slide, while a glimpse of its interior is after it was converted into a mosque is also displayed below them. Their building techniques were slightly improved and sophisticated methods for assuring the structure's solidity were developed, such as well-built deep foundations, wooden tie rod system in walls, and also in the foundations, and metal chains were placed horizontally inside the masonry in order to enhance the wall strength. तो बेसिकली उन्होंने माइनर से एडिशन किए थे जो बिल्डिंग स्ट्रक्चर था. रेस्ट इज द सेम एज रोमन्स. Let's move to our next slide. Before we move to learn about the Gothic architecture style, I wanted to show you the classic column evolution and types of classic arches based on their geometry. As you can see, how the columns were evolved from the Egyptian era to the Roman period. The last picture displays the nomenclature for the parts of a column, which includes the base at the bottom, mostly in a square form, then the linear shaft usually decorated with the vertical lines, and then comes the topmost part of the column on which the roof rests, which is also named as capital. The ways of capital decoration had mainly influenced the column appearance and resulted into several column types, which you can see in the picture. Also, there are some classic types of arches, which include semicircular arch, Gothic or pointed arch, horseshoe arch, flat arch, which were common in the Egyptian times, Roman arches having a keystone at the top of it, the bell arches, and lastly the segmental arches. अगली स्लाइड की तरफ बढ़ेंगे. Gothic architecture background. The Gothic fought against the Roman rule and helped to bring the downfall of the Roman empires, which had control over most of the Europe. While the Gothic style is most frequently associated with the architecture, but it can also apply to the literature, art, music, fashion, and jewelry. The Gothic style expressed the essence of Catholic faith, concerned with creating a sense of the belief of the presence of God. Their linear pointed features of architecture are the symbol for the connection to the gods and the heavens. Gothic architecture was initially begun in the France. By the end of the 12th century, it reached the England and later on rest of the Europe. The reason why it is also known as French Gothic architecture. The picture of the map is also shown into the slide. Their buildings. Gothic architecture majorly comprises of large number of churches and cathedrals. It is also the architecture of many castles, palaces, town halls, and universities. The Chartres Cathedral and Abbey Church of Saint Denis. Abbey means the father. They are the best example of Gothic architecture. The Abbey of Saint Denis, displayed on the top right side of this slide, ranks as an architectural landmark, as it was the first major structure of which a substantial part was designed and built in the Gothic style, both stylistically and structurally, and it was considered as the birth to the Gothic architectural style. While the Chartres Cathedral, displayed on the bottom right, is noted not only for its architectural innovations but also for its numerous sculptures and its use of stained glass. The cathedral's association with Virgin Mary, or Bibi Maryam alayhis salam as we Muslim used to call her, the supposed veil of Bibi Maryam alayhis salam, which is a piece of silk worn by her, is kept in the cathedral treasury, making it as the destination of pilgrims in the Middle Ages. Many of the invalids seeking a cure for their afflictions, it continues to be a pilgrimage site for the Roman Catholics in the 21st century. ये जो चार्टर्स कैथेड्रल है वो बहुत ही सेक्रेड है फॉर द क्रिश्चियंस और वो उसको ज़ियारत भी करते हैं। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड की तरफ बढ़ेंगे। Architectural innovations. Gothic architecture's other known name was pointed architecture, which was because of its distinct architectural features, which includes obviously the tall pointed arches and exteriors, flying buttresses, ribs and walls, and their stained glass windows. You can see all four of them on the slide. Both the flying buttresses and the ribs and walls innovation was a prime addition to the building structure as it has significantly played its role to support much of the heighted roof weight. The structure addition has mitigated the need of thick walls and making the Gothic architecture structurally improved. Moreover, the overall Gothic exteriors have the tall and pointed look of the churches, as they claim to be pointed towards the gods and heaven. Flying buttresses were introduced in the Gothic times and were attached with the outer walls of the churches in order to support the tall heighted roof and their thinner walls, as compared to the previous classic architecture. Gothic interiors, because of their symbolic height, there was much room to accommodate the extra row of windows, therefore their interior were bright and airy, with high ceilings and lots of openings. Moreover, the use of stained glass windows had made the Gothic buildings unique from outside as well as internally. तो ये एक मेजर इनोवेशन थी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर जो आर्किटेक्चर को जो इन्होंने एनहांस किया एज एन एलिमेंट जो उन्होंने इंट्रोड्यूस कराया जिसके अंदर वो बटरेसेस थी जो पहले प्रीवियसली क्लासिक कॉन्सेप्ट था जो वॉल थिक होती थी उसको उन्होंने मिनिमाइज करके थिन किया क्योंकि वो जो स्ट्रक्चरल एलिमेंट था बटरेसेस थी वो वॉल को सपोर्ट करती थी और उसी की वजह से जो स्ट्रक्चर इम्प्रूव हुआ और जो हाइटेड कॉन्सेप्ट था उनका जो पॉइंटेड कॉन्सेप्ट था उसको अनेबल किया उन्होंने। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड की तरफ बढ़ेंगे। बिल्डिंग मटेरियल्स। The disappearance of Roman power in Western Europe during the 5th century BC led to a decline in building technology. Brickmaking became rare and was not revived until the 14th century. Pozzolanic concrete was disappeared entirely and not appeared until the 19th century. The use of domes, walls in stone construction was also lost. Building techniques fell to Iron Age levels, exemplified by log construction. Log construction refers to a building technique in which a structure is built from logs that have not been milled into the conventional lumber. Packed clay walls, mud bricks, straw or animal extracts. They were among the common building materials in the Gothic times. As the Gothic architecture mainly influenced the building design and promoted the use of locally available materials, such as in France, limestone was easily available in several grades, and its finest form was white limestone, and it was mainly used for sculpture decoration. As in England, they had coarse limestone and red sandstone and dark green Purbeck marble, which was often used for architectural decorations, mainly in columns. As well as in Italy, stone was used for fortifications, but brick was preferred for the other buildings. Their building techniques. In addition to all other classic construction techniques which were discovered previously, Gothic mainly used the wattle and daub technique for constructing their dwellings and other buildings. Dwellings is the other name of houses or residencies, and the wattle and daub is a composite building method used for making walls and buildings in which a woven lattice or wooden strips called wattle is daubed with a sticky material usually made of some combination of wet soil, clay, sand, animal dung or wheat straw. The whole mechanism is displayed into this slide along with the finished house internally and as well as externally. क्योंकि जो गॉथिक आर्किटेक्चर था वो बिल्डिंग डिज़ाइन उस गॉथिक पीरियड के अंदर जो बिल्डिंग डिज़ाइन के ऊपर उन्होंने ज़्यादा काम किया उसको इम्प्रूव करने के लिए, लेकिन क्योंकि बिल्डिंग मटेरियल को उन्होंने ज़्यादा फोकस नहीं किया, तो जो लोकली अवेलेबल बिल्डिंग मटेरियल्स होते थे, जो जिस इलाके में जो बिल्डिंग मटेरियल इजीली अवेलेबल होता था, वो उसको शेप देते थे इनटू अ बिल्डिंग और कंस्ट्रक्शन के अंदर यूज़ करते थे। उसी तरह जो उनकी बिल्डिंग टेक्निक्स थी उसमें एक मेजर अमेंडमेंट किया उन्होंने, जो कि ये स्लाइड के अंदर आपको दिख रहा होगा। उसमें वुड को और जो उसके अलावा जो व्हीट स्ट्रॉ होता है और जो एनिमल की जो एक्सट्रैक्शन होती है, जो गोबर जिसको हम कहते हैं, ये सारी चीज़ों को मिला के उन्होंने एक नई फॉर्म दी और अपने घरों को उससे कंस्ट्रक्ट करना शुरू किया। क्योंकि ये इजीली जो कंस्ट्रक्शन थी इसकी बहुत ही इजीली होती थी और जो मटेरियल्स थे वो भी लोकली अवेलेबल होते थे, तो इसीलिए उन्होंने इस टेक्निक को जो है वो प्रमोट किया और ये अपने घरों को इस तरह इन्होंने कंस्ट्रक्ट करना शुरू किया। और ये जो बिल्डिंग टेक्निक है ये भी पाकिस्तान या इंडिया जहाँ पे भी आप जाएंगे बहुत सारे रूरल एरियाज में आपको आज भी मिलेगी, जो वो अपने जिस तरह अपनी घरों को बनाते हैं। तो ये टेक्निक जो है बहुत ही पॉपुलर हुई और आज भी रूरल एरियाज में गांव गोटों में ये यूज होती है। Thank you so much. Next lecture will be about the historical architecture development in the Great Islamic period, and we will know about some of the modern trends. Thank you, Allah Hafiz.